What is up, guys? This is On&Off Football, and the Packers take on the Cowboys this week, Sunday, 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central Time. Packers, really, it's just whatever at this point for the Packers. I mean, they're in. They did not expect to be in, but it's not like they're not going to be playing to win. Okay, they're there. They probably aren't supposed to be there, but in their brains, they're like, so what? We're going to win this game, prove everybody that the youngest team in football can knock off the Dallas Cowboys at home, where they're undefeated, 8-0 this year. So, Packers, big game, very big game. Gonna be a really good game, honestly. The outcome doesn't really matter as much because we know, okay, yeah, if we beat the Cowboys, phenomenal, honestly. But let's be honest, I don't know about the Niners. I know that they're like kryptonite to the Packers, but regardless, the Niners are a very broken team. Like, they're like a Madden ultimate team. They're really strong, so who knows how it's gonna go. But yeah, Packers, Cowboys, gonna be a big game. I mean, if you look at the stats of Jordan Love this season, I mean, look at this. Jordan Love has just been cooking this entire season. Yeah, he had a rough start. That happens with growing pains, especially such a young offense. Bears game, he showed out the very first game of the season, showed out phenomenally, just executed that first game. But then he started to drop. He played well against the Falcons, still lost that game. People are like, okay, the Packers aren't bad, but they need to start winning more games if they're gonna get into the playoffs. And people were like, oh, this team is not getting into the playoffs if they're gonna lose against the Atlanta Falcons. Packers beat the Saints. Crazy comeback. One of the craziest games of the season. Lions get destroyed. Raiders lose. Broncos lost. Then they lose against the Vikings. They play the Rams, which at the time did not have Stafford because he was injured. They beat the Rams. Close game against the Steelers. And people are like, okay, the Packers aren't bad. They're obviously losing these games, very close games, because they're young and they still have a lot to grow. But then the Packers shock everybody. The 3-game stretch that people thought they were going to lose, 100%. They won all 3. They beat the Chargers, they beat the Lions, they beat the Chiefs. Okay, now you're sitting at a good record of 6-6 after starting 3-6. Okay, then you play the Giants, you're like, okay, Packers should have this in the no. It was a trap game for the Packers, they lost. It's going to drop them heavily. Packers still sitting at 6-7 going to the Bucs game. People were like, okay, this is a game that's very important. Packers must win if they want to get in the playoffs. If they lose, it's basically over. They lost, but it wasn't over because the Packers just needed to win out, looking at how the NFC was looking. And they won out. Seahawks won, but it didn't matter because the Packers had that record over basically every NFC team. Rams already clinched by the time. They sat their starters the last week. Packers just, they won, and they were in. And that's what they did. And now they're going against Dallas at home. Jerry World. Mike McCarthy. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I don't think you realize that the Packers are a young team. Defense is getting better every week, supposedly. And just, it's a team you don't know what to expect from. So, Packers, Cowboys, going to be a phenomenal game. Get ready for it. I'm nervous. Obviously, I'm going to be upset if we lose. But it's not going to be a long upset because the Packers are going to be good next year. And we know this because once they get a real defensive coordinator, they're going to be good. And that's for sure. Don't expect the Packers to win this game. Don't go into high expectations that the Packers are going to win this game. Personally, I think we can win. It's very possible. It's not like it's an out-of-reach game. It's a hard game, though. It's a hard game. So, Packers, Cowboys, Sunday. Let's freaking go, baby. Packers in the playoffs. Let's get this dub. Why don't we? Why don't we just get the win? Shock the world. Nothing I'd want more than to knock off Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys in their own home field as the youngest team to ever make the playoffs. But with all of that, I thank you all for watching. And as always, go Pack, go.